Yesterday we saw this React Router DOM version 5, and I also have a course React Router Introduction. This is a free course. You can just click on buy now and you can already register immediately. So this is the course which explains in more detail about React Router version 5. So you can go to courses.yogesh7.dev React Router Introduction. So you can, once you go to this URL, you can just search for router 5 introduction. You can see, so this is a 5 and this is sixth version. 6 is paid, but this 5 is free. So here you can see all the more details. So how to redirect using redirect component, how to pass additional data, render prop, so how to pass extra data as a prop to any of the route component. So which is not directly, you cannot pass directly because you are just referring this particular component. So you are not using like this. So you cannot pass some props here. So how you can pass that extra prop? So all this information you can go through this. It's a text based, so you can there are also demos, code sandbox demos, so you can directly play with that and you can try changing those code and you will see how it works. So this is the React Router version 5. We have just explained the basics which are needed to understand how version 5 works. Now we'll switch to version 6 and you will see what's the difference between version 5 and version 6. So let me remove node modules, expense manager app, chapter 5. Chapter 6. Or I'll just copy paste that. Copy router 5 to router 6. Router 6, I will open this. Now this does not have node module, so we need to do npm install, or I can say yarn install or just yarn. So it will install all the packages from package.json. Now we can start npm run dev. So it's the same version 5 application. Now we will install version 6. So you can just say npm install react, or it's yarn add, because we use yarn here. Router DOM at 6, you can specify any specific version, or you can just say at latest. So it will use the latest version from npm. So it will be react router DOM, whatever the latest version, 6.17.0. You can see this is installed. Now if you that, now if you run, you should get error. Yes, you can see now you are getting error here. Let me go here, export use history. So use history hook is no longer available in version 6. So you are getting error. So instead of going one by one, let's me show you what is the difference. So we don't have switch component inside version 6. So if you try to add this, you will get, you can see by default, if I say route, you have that suggestion, route is available. Switch, you can see switch, it's showing ABC. This is not available. So it does not work. So you need to use, instead of switch, we have routes component. So all the routes that you define, you always need to define inside the route. So you cannot have any route without routes. So routes has to be parent component. So now we are still having issue because you are still using use history. So now the second change you need to do is, instead of component, you need to use element prop. So component prop is no longer available. And these components, instead of directly referencing, you need to refer them as a JSX. And in version 6, you don't need exact prop. So in version 5, this was also match, this was also match. So you need exact prop. But with version 6, every path that you mention is an exact match. So you no longer need this exact prop. So this is exactly same as the previous one. Here we have element, and for the not found page, you need to specify path equal to star if you are using version 6. So this will work as a page not found component. So here let's fix this error in profile. In profile.jsx, we have used history. So in version 6, instead of use history, you have used navigate. So I can say navigate equal to use navigate. Now we don't need this use history. And wherever we are using history dot push here. So you can just say navigate. So this is the navigate we are getting from use navigate. Navigate. And you don't need to pass, you don't pass this information like this. So you have navigate. So we'll first replace it with normal. Let me refresh. So now you can see you are getting error app reading state cannot read properties. Yes, so here we are not getting that particular state. So if you are using version 6, in version 5, all the components that you declare here as a part of route will automatically receive props. But in version, these props are not available. So you don't get access to these props. So you don't have the way of using history match params. You have those hooks. So you can directly use the hook. So what I need state. I can use location hook. And here I can use state destructure. So we have already seen use location yesterday. So it contains state property. Now you don't need this, you can directly say state. And state props is not defined, line 5. Remove this. Now you can see the application is getting displayed. And here we have somewhere we are also passing exact. I think it's in header. Yes, so exact, you don't need exact anymore. Navlink, everything is same. Active class name. So if you are using version 6, you don't have active class name. So you can just declare highlight class that we have declared. Instead of that, you just add an active class. Name of the class has to be active. And now you don't need any of these particular classes. So if you are using Navlink, that active class will automatically be added. So where is active class? It's direct active class. So if you have active class in your application, that will be automatically added. So if I refresh, you can see this is automatically highlighted. When I click on this, this is also highlighted. So that active functionality is also working. Profile/2. So you can see this is correctly printing all the information. So let's go into each component and see if we are using something else. So this Navlink is same, not found, profile. So here we are using use location. So use location is also available in version 6. This is JavaScript API, so you don't need to make any changes. These props are not available, so you don't need this. So you never get props. So if I am on profile page, so if I go to profile, you can see props is an empty object. So even if you use, you don't have access to that. So we are already commenting out. So everything else is exactly same. Just instead of navigate, we have, instead of history dot push, we are using navigate. Now here, when I enter, click on register, we are going here. So we are not passing that extra information. So you can see it's empty. So you can get that location. You can see this is location. So this is location is printing window dot location. So all this information by default you have if you go to any website or directly in Chrome DevTools, you have location object which contains all the information of this particular web page. So this is actually window dot location. So that's getting printed here. So what we can do now, whenever we submit, I need to pass that extra information. So here you can see you have a list of options. I can pass the state. You have a state property and where I can pass that information. What information? Profile. Now I am redirecting to home page. So slash route. So where is slash route? Slash route is app component. Now here I can print that state information. State is here null. If I enter the values, you can see now you correctly get that data. So state contains all the information that we have entered. So this is way to pass that information from profile. So previously we directly passing. Now we have a state property, new object with state property, and here you need to pass that information that you need to use. So there are not much changes between version 5 and 6, but 6 is better and you have exact match, so you never face ambiguity while declaring the route. You don't need to worry about exact route. So even if you can see this is first and this is later, so when I access profile, you get this profile information, and when I say profile with that user, you correctly get that information of user. So you don't need to manually add exact prop, and you also don't need to change this order. So this page not found, we have not seen. So let's say I say profiles, this route does not exist. So you see this particular blank page. So here we have, you can see now we have error. Functions are not valid as React chat because this is not the syntax. So you need to use JSX syntax. So now you can see page not found is displayed. So always use this syntax JSX if you are using version 6. And now you can pass any information you want. So inside this, I can pass mic, and that will come as a prop. So you have access to props, but not the props by default when you mention any component as a route. So you have access to props, but the props are just what you are passing. We are passing name. So if you go here, you can see name. So you don't have access to that location, history, match, and params. So these three props you don't get. So that's how you can use this particular React Router 6. And everything is same as version 6. You always use those hooks, use location, use params. So parameters are also same syntax. If you have seen, you can see profile slash ID. So that syntax is also same. So version 6 is a bit lighter, like it's faster than the version 5 because you don't have those extra props. So every component previously it was receiving those props, so you have extra information. In our case, we don't have that extra information in version 6. So if you need, you can access that using those hooks. Use location, use params, you can use those to access those information. But by default, that is not getting sent to any of the components. So these are some faster. Version 6 is faster than version 5 and there is less ambiguity. And in version 5, if you are using I want to pass this prop, you have to use a different method. So let me show you. So I have explained that in that my course, but let me show you here for a quick demo. So I again need to do npm install. So if you are using version 5, we have component and you are directly referring to it. So in this case, let's say I want to pass some prop to the app component. In this case, you need to change this component to render. So it's known as a render prop pattern. And here, instead of the direct component, you need to convert that into function. This function will receive those props. Now you can use this, return this particular component. So you just return this app component. Now you have access to this. So let me show you first this one inside app. We are already printing the props. So you have props object with history, location, match. So these are three things automatically passed when you are using any component as a part of router. If you see inside header, what it contains, header is not part of router. It's a header. So you can see it's empty. Header don't have access to those props because that is not a router. So now if I want to pass any data, so you can use render. You can see it's still working with render. So this name, you can use render or component, both are valid. So if you are using render, you can use functional syntax. So I can return app component here. So now if you see, you will not have those props. You can see you are getting error, line number 5. Here we are reading from props. So props is undefined. So you can see props is an empty object as we are not getting, because you are receiving the props here, but you are not using, you are not passing them to app. So if you have some object or props you are getting and you want to pass that to any component, you can just spread out those props. So we have already seen, if you have a lot of data, user data, instead of saying user.name equal to user.name, email equal to user.email, you can just spread out user, this curly bracket dot user, that will spread out all the property. So now we are getting all the properties, history, location, match, and we are passing them directly to the app component. Now app component will have access to those props. So you can see now you have access to those props and you can pass some additional information. So I can also pass name Mike. So you can see you have access to name. So this is how you need to pass any prop if you want, if you are using version 5 using a render props pattern. So here you don't, as this is a single statement, you can just write it on single line. You don't need to create a function because this is arrow function. You can use implicit return syntax. So this also works the same and you don't have issue. So this is the difference, one major difference between version 5 and 6. In version 5, if you want to pass data, you need to convert it to render prop. In version 6, you can directly pass it. So that's it about this version 6. You can also go through that. So I have React Router 6 free crash course where I have explained everything in detail. So these are just the basics. If you need, so you should go through that video for more understanding and more information about Router 6. So we'll be creating applications so you will get the idea, but for more information, you can go to that course, where is search here, router. You can see React Router 6 crash course. So it's around 1 hour. This is ad. So you can see it's around 1 hour video, and I have explained all the details you need to know. So you can see how to handle 404 version 5 and version 6 issue if you are using strict mode. Use navigate URL parameters, props difference, passing additional data, different ways of passing additional data, query parameters, nested routes. So nested routes are also important. There is a difference. So you will go through this video. First go through that course, Router 5 course, React Router introduction. Here also I have explained how to use nested routes. So nested routes, you can see here using nested routes, deeply nested routes, how you can declare them, how you can use them. So first go through this course, this is a free course, and then you can go through this video so you will better understand. So now we'll create that expense manager app using a React router, and we'll also use Redux. So this is the expense manager app with router 6. I will keep it as it is. npm create React Java. I don't need this app CSS. You can just say yarn to install all the packages. Here I can create a new. Index.css. I don't need this background color. npm. So let's install React router DOM. So when you say just React router DOM, it will install the latest version, which is the version 6. So in future, if there is a higher version of React router DOM, that will be installed. We also need Bootstrap, React-Bootstrap. Let's also install Axios so we can make API call. So use yarn only. So you should not mix between package lock and yarn lock. So you should either use package lock npm install or yarn install. So your project will not have that confusing dependency, and because on locally it might work, but when you deploy your application, it will not work. So you should either use yarn or either use npm. I will use yarn so because it's faster. So packages are installed faster, and the application is also any package. If you need specific package that install faster, and I can just say yarn that also install all packages faster. So now this is installed. I can say yarn add React router DOM Bootstrap. Make sure you type correctly. Axios. That's it for now. So let me show you the application that we'll be building. So you can see you have login screen, you have register functionality, login functionality. I can log in as a user. So you also have protected routes here. So I cannot access /profile if I am not logged in. So you will be redirected to login page. So you cannot access any of the page. Search page, we also have search page until you are logged. So I will log in with one user, and now you can see that expenses for that particular user. So every user have a different expenses. So we have add expense page. So this is, so let's add one expense. Let's say cash, some date, expense amount, shopping, add expense, expense is added. Now you can see it's here. You also have search expense. So if you have a lot of expenses, you can search through it. So I can search for shoes. So you will be filtering out. So I just type the shoes and press enter. If you don't type anything and press enter, you'll see all the expenses. I can also filter it by cash, or I can select only one filter at a time. So if I select cash here, you will see all the expenses with cash. If I select current year, you can see this is removed and you see only the current year expenses 2023. If I select previous year, you don't have previous error. So let me add previous year expense 23, 22. So this is added for year 22. So I can search for previous error. You can see you get this 22, and this year we only have 3. You can also sort by oldest first. So you see 2022 first, and then it's sorted by date. So October 4, 6, then 11. If I say newest first, so you have latest 2023 first, and 22 is last. So you can also delete this. So you can see this highlighted. Okay, yes, it's deleted. So you can also delete. You have profile information, so you can populate or update this profile mic. So you can see profile is updated. But once I log in, you cannot access login page. If you access, you are redirected to home page. If you try to access register, you are again redirected to home page. So these pages are protected. So you have protected route. So these pages only you can access if you are logged in and not if you are logged out. So this is the application that will be built in. So let me keep it this side. This. We have created CD React training. Now we have expense manager. So this is the app we just created without any code right now. So we have installed all the packages. It's a yarn dev or npm run dev. You can see it's running on 7.4 port. So this is different port and this is different. So right now we don't have anything. So let's first set up React Router. So if you see, we have installed React Router version 6. So here I can use browser router now. Now suggestion is coming, so you can import. From sometimes the suggestion does not come, so you need to import at least one thing, then you will get further suggestions. So browser router is important. Using that only your routing will work. Now, as we are using version 6, you will need to have routes, and only you can mention route in those routes, so individual route. Now you have path equal to slash. So if it's slash page, I need to display that expense list page. So if you see, let's log in again. So we'll add that login functionality later. We just first implement the internal section. So we have this left navigation, right navigation. So this is a dashboard page. So once you access, you have this expense list page. So let's create that expense list component. Save this src components. You can create another folder, expense list. Here expense list.js. So now inside this expense list, so for now we'll just use that. So now you need to use element, and here you need to use the JSX syntax, expense list. Now if you check, you can see expense list is displayed, but we want this background left and right navigation here. So what you can do is you can create a layout component. So components, you can create layout.jsx. So that will wrap everywhere. So just like a header tag, header component we created. So once you include that header here, that header will be displayed on every component because this is inside a browser router and not inside routes. Similarly, you can, but this header will only display like upper part. We want left side and right side will be dynamic. So once I click this add expense, the right side should change. So for that, we'll create a layout component instead of header. So this layout component will have, let's say, class of main, and I can say left, right. So this will be our left section, this will be right section. So let's add classes. Let's first add reset CSS. So you don't need, if you are using Bootstrap, you are already installed, but still you can add that. This is very important. So once you add box sizing border box and margin padding 0, then all the browsers, in all the browsers, your application will display the same, like web page will display same. You will not have some extra border, extra margin. And box sizing, this is very important, so you will not have extra padding. So you can search on Google W3 Schools what is box sizing. This is very important. Border box, you should always have border box, so your application or any div will not grow its size, actual size. So you can search for box model and you can get more information about it. Now this is the main, this is left section, this is the right section. So let me declare that main as display flex, and the left section inside main I can have flex 2, and right section flex 10. So we have grid of 12 columns. We are usually have a grid of 12 columns if you are using CSS or any Bootstrap or any material UI library. So what we are saying, we want a grid column of 12 columns. So the left section will cover first 2 columns and right section will cover the rest of the columns. So it will become responsive. And now we can use some display some content. So I can say left nav, and here I can say right nav. Now we need to use this layout component. So we can wrap layout here. So now whatever you add in between opening and closing tag will go as a children prop. So inside layout, I need to import this. So inside this layout component, you can take that children prop, and that children prop you will display as the right section. Yeah. So now you can see this is the left nav and this is the right nav. So this is occupying 2 columns and this is occupying rest of the 10 columns. So now what we are doing, this will be our navigation. So for this side, you can create a new component which will display the left side navigation. So let's create sidebar dot .jsx. And we can create sidebar dot .css. You can import it here. You can add class name of sidebar, unordered list, li nav link. As we have a nav link, so let's add active class, font width bold. So that particular element will be highlighted. 2 equal to slash, let's say home. So what we have different things, dashboard should be dashboard, add expense, search expense, add expense, search expense, profile and logout. Profile, logout. This will be add, this will be search, this will be profile, and for this we can keep it slash for now. So this is the sidebar component. Now we can use it here. Nav link, you import it. Yeah. Use location, sidebar. So you can see what we are doing. We are using router layout. So what we are doing, we are using nav link. So this nav link is nested inside sidebar, which is in layout. So you cannot use nav link in outside. So that has to be inside browser router. So we can move this layout inside browser router. So now you have access to all the routing functionality. So now you can see this is getting displayed. So we also need some background. So let me copy that background colors. So this is left. And body, you can say add body, background color same. For the right section, we can add this color. Now you can see this is getting this. So now we want to cover this right section for the entire height. So what we can do is on the right side, we can say height, minimum height, 100 VH. 100 VH is 100 viewport height. So what is getting displayed? So now you can see it covers the entire height. So no matter if your content is larger, it will still cover that entire section. So we can also give this same for the left section. So now you have this entire covered section. So here on the left side, you have some icons also. So for that, we can use the React icons, which we have already discussed. So let's install first npm install React icons. So we'll have this entire application. Initially, we'll build completely using just React. Then we'll use Redux in that, core Redux. And then we'll use Redux Toolkit, which is the latest version of Redux, which is the recommended way to use Redux. So you will have direct actual experience of building large application with login and logout functionality also. So now we can search for what is this? This is home. We can search for home icon. We can take this right sidebar, import from React icon /AI. So here is the dashboard text. You can use it here. So you can see this getting this class name equal to icon. You have sidebar. So whenever you write CSS, always target by that parent. So unique class you should have for every component. So inside sidebar dot icon icon margin, right? Margin. The instead is let's give 10 pixels. You have some spacing. Let's add some margin. So this is unordered list. Let's give some class list items inside sidebar dot list items list style none. So will not have those bullets. Margin 0. Whenever you display list, always make sure to make margin 0 and padding 0. And now we can add a padding of not for this particular list items entire, but individual list item. Sidebar list items list item. Set padding 10 pixels. You can see there is some padding top bottom left right 10. So we have these links. So for the links, you can directly add anchor tag, text decoration, none. So it will not have underline. You can see there is no underline. Now we can make this icons larger. So where is the icon here? We can provide size property, size equal to let's say 25. Yes, you can see, let's make it 20. Yeah, that is better. We can add this all of the icon. Let's first add icons. So we have add expense. So let's use this import /bi. So this is from bi, not here. Here I can use that. Copy paste here. So this is add expense. Now you have this search expense. Search. Can use this one. Yeah, let's use this outline search. Or profile, you can search for person. Like this, yes. Import from React icons /bs. And for logout, can use this. Let's change this size from 20 to 25. If you see with the unordered list, let's add some. So you can try how it displays directly here. We can add a margin, 1 rem. So you can see this is looking better. List items, margin 1 rem. This. Let's keep that first. Now we want this to be text to be centered. So you can see the icon is at the top and text is in the bottom. Let's give class name of link. Sidebar, list items, list item, link. Display flex, aligned items, enter. You can say padding top bottom, let's make it 10 pixels. So this is looking better. You can say font size 20 pixels. 20. Why the logout is not displaying? Now you can see this is getting this. But you see that active class is added in both of the cases because we have active class. It is sidebar here. So navlink we have given the same route for /home and /this also. So let's use link instead of navlink. Now that is not highlighted. So when I click on this, you can see these particular things are highlighted. Let's make that font size smaller. Make it 15 so it will fit on this particular column. That's 18. Yeah, this is better. Profile logout. So this is getting better. Now we have this right section. Let's change the color of this also. So you can see this is a black color. Color #000. Now you can see these are in black color. So that's it for today. We'll continue tomorrow with building this right section. So any question?
So Yogesh, we are in app actually. Not app, in main. So whatever under routes is treat as a children.
Whatever between the opening and closing tag of layout will go as a children. So here you will have only one route. So you have expense list. You also have, what was that, add expense. I can create add expense .jsx. Now you have add expense So only one route with the matching URL will be displayed on this particular as a children. And inside layout, we have fixed sidebar and only the right side will be changing. So only one route will be displayed at a time. So you will have, you can see now here. When I click on add expense, you can see now this is add expense. And this is
Okay.
expense list.
But layout is just the component, right? It is
Yes,
not.
yes, yes, it's a
Okay.
component.
So that is handled internally.
So
Using
using children
children only.
Yes.
Okay. Hmm. And what about these icons? If we want, I mean, one by one, we need to import always, or is there
Yeah,
any?
so if we all are from AI, you can import it all on one line. If they're on separate packages, you need to install the import them separately.
There is no other way. I mean.
No, there is no other.
Mhm. Okay.